Good evening. Good evening. I certainly hope that you all have had a good week and that you will have an amazing weekend on purpose. A couple of things have kind of running through my spirit, especially today. Hope you can hear that rain in the background. It's so calming, and I needed to hear it. I needed to have something calming today. Interesting thing, I was chatting on my Facebook page with one of the great educators from Baltimore City College, with whom we are still blessed to have many of them. They still nurture us, they still teach us, they still just kind of steer us in the right direction. Even when we don't know we've gone off the path, and I feel really, really blessed and fortunate for them. I was chatting just about what's happening in our world, what's happening in this country, what's happening to our democracy, the things that just don't make sense. I mean, absolutely, they just don't make sense. And we kind of went, a little back and forth talking about one thing or another, but there was this one point where he said to me, and I'm paraphrasing, that for me to hold on to hope, to not lose hope. And right in that moment, I realized I was losing hope and I didn't even know it. Like it was seeping out like air out of a small puncture wound in your tire. The hope was just being drained out of me with every news story, every headline, every caption, every clip, discussions from people that aren't being served in our communities as they ought to be, rampant violence. And there seems to be no oversight. I don't even know what Congress is anymore. I don't know what our government, if we have one, is anymore. And I was just at that place. And I'm so grateful that he redirected me to hope. I talk about hope a lot, and I did not realize, again, that mine was just slipping away from me. I was becoming cynical. And in that space, I actually told somebody the other day, why would I vote? I voted before, and the candidate I wanted won the popular vote, and the Electoral College gave it to someone else. So what's the point? Like, it just got, like, what's the point? It's just going to fall out the way it does, and we'll try to survive it the best way we can. And that's not who I normally am, but that's where I was. And I think you may have picked up on that in what I was responding and what we were during our dialogue. He may have picked up a little bit of my cynicism, and he redirected me, and I'm grateful. I also was looking through my Facebook feed, my memory feed, and because it's March, a lot of it was coming up when we first discovered back in March of 2020 what COVID was. When someone finally came out and told us we're in a pandemic, we are in a situation we've never been in before. Go home, stay home. We had no information, we had no direction, we had fear. We were losing people by the thousands and the 10,000s daily. No one knew what to do. And as we progressed into it, we became a people, and I don't mean this country, I mean this world. We became a people who we shedded all of those things that we carry with us during the day. Work, school, traffic, annoyances. It was all gone. There was nothing left but humanity for one another. We did our best to try to encourage one another. We were afraid together. We were strong together. We were informing one another. We were talking to complete strangers. I think about 3 people in particular that really did some things for us and brought us together. One of them was a DJ named D Nice. He just kind of started doing these live streams, just something to do right out of his living room. And he started playing all kinds of music, and it caught on like wildfire. And I mean, there were millions of people listening to this guy all day long, all evening long. And not just, regular everyday folk. There were stars and superstars that were coming through his live feed, and he was playing their music, and he was listening to requests. And then there was Dr. Anthony Fauci, who was the only one that seemed that was talking to us, and that we could actually trust him, and he was genuine. And he was honest, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then there was Andrew Cuomo, the New York governor. He was talking to us, giving us actual up-to-date data, information as he got it, as he was talking to Dr. Fauci, as he was talking to the people in the street, to the people in the hospitals, the nurses, the doctors. He was giving us this information. He was giving updates 2-3 times a day. And we were all kind of clinging to those people for something. It wasn't about our religious background. It wasn't about our sexuality. It wasn't about any of those things. It was about humanity. And we needed each other. And we nurtured each other through this. Somewhere along the way, I stopped being intentional about trying to find a post during the day that would encourage at least the people I could touch, or whoever might be on my feed, or whoever was on my public pages, or even the podcast that I did on hope, the conversation series on hope in December of 2020, which was absolutely amazing. Great thanks to the pastors and faith leaders and ministers of every denomination of the generations from 1978, the new Baltimore City College, straight through the 2000s, that showed up to talk about what hope meant. It was amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's on my YouTube channel, TCS Let's Talk, the conversation series. It's really amazing. I want not to lose that Chris. I want to evolve her, because we are in a tough situation across a lot of fronts and across a lot of life domains. And I just want us to go back to being intentional about loving on one another as human beings and let all the other stuff fall off. You see, I know where my hope is. I know why I was reminded of my hope today. Because when I ask God to help me, to see me through a thing, He'll use whomever He chooses. And today He chose to use a teacher. He knew I would respect what this man said. I believed what he said. And I knew his intentions were good. And I knew he was educated and well-researched. He knew I was going to hear him when he said, hang on to your hope. Don't lose hope. He knew that for me. And I needed that. And I didn't know I needed it. I don't know what any of this will mean for anybody that sees or hears this, but can we just consider going back to that intentional love on one another, care for one another, collective thinking of one another? Drop all of the other stuff, the hatred, the divisiveness, the backbiting, the carrying the weight of the things that we are seeing and experiencing in our country and in our world, and getting back to the basics of humanity and love. Love really, really does conquer all. Love gives you hope. Hope is the thing that gives you faith. If you don't have any hope, why would you bother? Hope is so underrated, like kindness. It's underrated. People talk all the time about faith. If I don't have any hope, in what will I have faith? If I don't have any hope, why would I love you? Because I'm feeling hopeless. Anyway, that's kind of where my head was, and it's certainly where my heart and my spirit are tonight. I pray that you will have good dreams and get restorative sleep. If you're working, I pray that you will have a great shift, productive, and that you'll be safe. And I hope whatever it is that tomorrow will bring, gratitude, we'll take nothing for granted, and we will be thankful for the smallest of things. I really, really do love you all. Whether I know you or not, whether we're very close, or we're acquaintances, or anything in the middle. And I love you with no strings attached. Have a good night.